just to first of all, thank you to OncoDaily and the Global Cancer Movement. It's really exciting to see what the team there have been able to do just in such a short amount of time in helping bring education and awareness to just cancer period, through non-traditional means. So that's really, really exciting. I also want to thank Pashtun. I've been listening for the last couple of minutes as we all know. And you'll hear in my talk, which was going to be the complete opposite of Pashtun. He's way smarter than I am. But you'll see we need new treatments, and we need new treatments fast for colorectal cancer. And so that actually is really the title of my presentation, Project Cure CRC, Ending Colorectal Cancer in Our Lifetime. So you may or may not know, the folks that are listening or that will listen, but that the 5-year metastatic survival rate actually for breast cancer is 35%. And for colorectal cancer, it's actually 13%. And what does that mean? It means that we don't have enough treatments for colon cancer. We don't have enough treatments for rectal cancer. If you're looking at frontline colorectal cancer stage 4 treatment or metastatic treatment, we've been using the same standard of care for about 15 to 20 years for most patients, right? And that's just unacceptable, in my opinion, and in the Alliance's opinion. And so that's why we've started Project Cure CRC. If you look on the right side here, just in terms of funding for colorectal cancer by diagnosis, first of all, you can see on the left the number of new cases, 153,000 this year, 2024. We're ranked fourth overall in mortality. We're ranked second in the United States, just behind lung cancer. And then on the right side here, you can see the overall dollars that are actually spent. This is US, not global, but US on all the different cancers. And as you can see, we are second to last. And as you know, as I just said, more people pass away, unfortunately, from colorectal cancer than all of these other cancers that get way more research. So Project Cure CRC, what is it? It's a $100 million 2-year investment campaign to accelerate a cure. I'll give a little bit of background. I don't know if those of you that are not in the United States know who Estee Lauder is, but Estee Lauder was the maker of makeup. Basically, the family obviously made a fortune, and in 1994 they gave $100 million to the breast cancer movement. And what has that done? It has helped 300 new FDA approvals since 1994. It's equated to about $4 billion worth of philanthropic dollars that have gone into the breast cancer ecosystem. And as you can see via this last slide, they have a 35% metastatic 5-year survival rate. We have 13. So this is really why we're doing this. The goals, what are our goals? Number one, and I'll talk a little bit more about this in a bit, but is to create the largest database of colorectal cancer patients in the world. We call the front end of this project Blue HQ. So this is patient facing, caregiver facing. The Alliance is the largest colorectal cancer advocacy organization in the world. And so, we reach hundreds of thousands of patients a year. And if we're able to utilize information from those patients to help them in real time, but also to help speed up via data for folks like Pashtun or small biotech or large pharma, that will help bring new treatments to market faster. So again, that's the first goal, is building this database. Number two here is fast track new therapies as quickly as possible. So how can we do that? And how do we do that fast? And then again, our third goal is just a longer term goal, but is to raise that 5-year metastatic survival rate from 13 to 35. So how are we going to do it? Number one, we are going to fund direct research. So we've already started this. We launched our RFP in March. We awarded our first grant in June, and we've awarded $10 million in funding. I'll go through some of who we have funded and what we have funded in a moment. And you can see the different ways in which we're doing that. So early career investigator awards, we've been doing a lot of these. These are $200,000 awards to help get new ideas into the field, right? Most of you who are on this line probably know that investigators, researchers, et cetera, they follow the money. And if the money isn't there for young investigators, they're going to go somewhere else, not maybe GI or not maybe colorectal cancer, to continue to study. Hence why we've made advancements in breast cancer. And then the same thing here, senior investigator awards. Pharma and small biotech are only doing so much. So how do we get new and better ideas? So for example, CAR T, it's not working in colorectal cancer. For example, as Pashtoon said, it's mainly not working for MSS colorectal cancer in terms of immunotherapy, right? We're looking at vaccines. None of those things work right now for colorectal cancer for the vast majority of metastatic patients. So how do we get new ideas? And I'll be perfectly honest, we've received a ton of proposals this year. You'll see in a minute how many. And there are some in CAR T and there are some in immunotherapy. And unfortunately, we're not seeing the movement that we really want to see moving towards a cure. And so we also think that these team science awards, bringing people together and then also funding small startups is a way to go. So that's the first part of how we'll do this, the direct research funding. The second is influencing research. So from a policy perspective, how can we work with the executive branch, the legislative branch, et cetera, to bring more money into the field from a government funding research perspective? I'm going to talk about this left side here in a moment, but this is a clinical trial ecosystem or a clinical trial protocol. For those of you that are familiar with I-SPY, which is done by Laura Esserman and Quantum Health, it is a way to bring new treatments to market fast, have them fail fast or succeed fast, bring multiple arms at the same time. It's a protocol that is already approved by the FDA. And in a moment, I'll talk a little bit more about what that looks like, how the benefits are different from traditional clinical trials, et cetera. And then this last part again is about creating this patient-facing EHR integrated platform for patients, for oncologists, et cetera, that will store data to make sure that we have enough information to continue bringing new treatments to market. So the funding, let's talk about this for a second. So since March, we've had 240 letters of intent. I think about 90, I'm guessing, about 90 have been moved on to a second round. We've awarded 17 grants so far, and that's as of last month, just so everybody knows, and around $10 million in research funding to date. Let me just give you a smattering of what we funded. So we funded a $1.6 million grant for this therapy for MSS disease. This is helping, create new therapeutic options for, as I was just saying, those 95 to 96% of patients that are microsatellite stable. We've been working with Theranostics with Dr. Manning for BRAF mutations at MD Anderson. Peter Lee is actually looking at a non-traditional way of utilizing immunotherapy for MSS disease, actually ivermectin. The next one here, you can see here, I think he's from University of Miami, improve the mRNA vaccination strategies. This is an early career investigator award. The next one, Katerina Tachova, she's from the University of Saskatchewan, and this is a targeted radioimmunotherapy. We have a new drug combination for BRAF on the right here from, I think this is University of Kentucky. The Indiana University, we have another one that's targeting cells aiding cancer survival in terms of proteins. And then Katerina is looking at body fat in CRC. We think that this is a really important piece. How do we really identify what is affecting individuals and why they're being diagnosed earlier, especially young onset individuals? Working with UCSF and Julia Carnival and others during, at their CAR T program, but looking at cutting technology, innovating with the CRISPR. And then the last one here is stopping the spread. This is David Robbins at Georgetown University, looking at circulating tumor cells, and what does that mean, and how can we improve overall survival rates from the disease? So, as I said, the adaptive clinical trial piece here. So this is the clinical trial protocol. This is our take on I-SPY for breast cancer, K-SPY for colorectal cancer, and just an executive summary here. So what does this do compared to others for the following different cohorts. So, why would this transform the clinical trial experience for these stakeholders? Patients, number one, personalized care. So, it's adaptive trial design, matching patients to the most promising therapies based on their tumor, biology, the faster access. Patients benefit from cutting edge treatments sooner rather than traditional trials. For example, on average, these can be brought into the clinic with about 3 to 6 months compared to 2 years for traditional clinical trials because of the already FDA approved protocol that's already in the overall clinical trial design. So two, for small biotechs, what does this mean? De-risk development, right? It's rapid insights on biomarker driven efficacy, streamlined drug validation, and reduced costs. The regulatory boost, again, this facilitates faster FDA breakthrough or accelerated approval pass. So what does this mean for PIs? So we already have about 27 individuals coming to Miami next week who are already participant sites of I Spy for breast cancer that will be helping us figure out what are the paths and what clinical trials we'll be putting in first in K-Spy. So obviously scientific excellence. So this will be driven by these investigators, not necessarily by large pharma. Yes, there'll be input from large pharma, but this will be driven in terms of, are we doing neoadjuvant? Are we doing adjuvant? Are we doing, looking at, ctDNA, et cetera? So that is really, leveraging the centralized trial coordination to reduce administrative burdens. And then the last one for our friends in large pharma, how do we do this? Accelerated pipeline. Again, instead of 2 years, instead of spending, hopefully there's no big CROs on the call, but faster identification of promising candidates, reduces time to market, and then engaging with all of these leaders to make this happen. This is going to be led by our chief medical consultant, Dr. John Marshall at Georgetown University, and a bunch of other KOLs in this space. So I'm going to skip there's a bunch of different sites here, but I'm going to skip. Just want to make the world aware. We have a invitation only Project Cure CRC Summit. We're bringing together 165 folks. Pashtoon, I know, will be there next week from the 11th to the 13th. We have about 15 small biotechs who are emerging. And really the idea is what new ideas, unpublished, et cetera, ideas can we come up with to then insert into our RFP in 2025 to be able to fund hopefully something that will break through with CAR T, break through even more with immunotherapy combination, vaccines, ADCs, whatever it is. And then concurrently, a little bit post is our AllyCon. So AllyCon is our patient conference. We have about 200 patients from across the country coming into Miami to learn from the greatest minds in colorectal cancer. So I know this is untraditional, but this is where I want to end. So actually next week, for those of you that know Dawson's Creek and what is his name's James Vanderbeek. I'm not a pop culture person, but James Vanderbeek was on Dawson's Creek. Unfortunately, was diagnosed with colorectal cancer. We are partnering with Fox and Hulu on Monday, December 9th from 8 to 10 p.m. This is Eastern time in the United States. They will be doing a full episode around cancer detection, getting screened, cancer research, and the Colorectal Cancer Alliance is their partner of choice. So we're really excited, and I just wanted to make sure that everybody saw that. And then this is the website, colorectalcancer.org/cure, if anybody wants additional information.
Thanks a lot, Michael. Really very, very inspiring talk. I just want to clarify a few aspects. So this funding is available only in US or globally?
Globally. Yeah, we've actually
Globally.
funded
Amazing.
a couple, I think one in Australia and one in the UK, but they weren't on this slide deck. I don't know if the agreements have been signed, but we have funded too. Yeah.
Yes, that's why I noticed only from US awardees. That's why I wanted to clarify this. And also I want to know your opinion. And if Dr. Cassie is here, Dr. Cassie, if you are here, still here. and listening to us. I want to know your opinion about metal-based drugs. First, as like a leading expert in GI tract oncology, Dr. Kasi, what do you think? Because we all are very excited about these advancements with immunotherapies, targeted therapies, yet there is no single regimen without like oxaliplatin. So will you fund the project that includes some novel metal-based agents, let's say, and what do you think about this, Dr. Kasi? I want to hear both of you.
No, no, I think this question is a great example of how the Project Cure CRC can help these out of the box or ideas that, for example, may not find a home in the traditional pipeline. And there is a lot of interest in repurposed drugs and other drugs that probably will never see the light of day. We had a paper come out with our colleagues in the University of Iowa looking at vitamin C, and I can tell you, having worked
Mhm.
on that trial at Iowa as well as at Cornell, the biggest problem was the trials have been moving at a snail's pace because there's lack of funding, especially on drugs that may or may not have a colorectal or big pharma behind it. Even pharma funding too, needs sometimes that accelerated push, or let's say funding for translational aspects that could lead to a bigger grant funding. So this Cure CRC aspect that Michael just highlighted, like especially for these early investigators, sometimes you need that initial acceleration. And the one thing I wanted to highlight that I think Michael had mentioned, it's also on the website. There's not like a deadline. It's like a rolling, ongoing. It's very unique. I
Mhm.
think it's the only one of its kind funding mechanisms where the same barriers that we see on a day-to-day basis that can make these months of progress into years of stagnation. That can be overcome by innovative mechanisms like this. So this kudos to the alliance and the funders and the whole mechanism, and for the whole CRC community to come together. There's been, we had the first summit last year, and just between the last summit and this summit, there's been so much tangible progress that I think it's unparalleled.
Yeah, thank you, Pashtun, and Gemma. I will just say too, we are really open to talking to any investigators as well if they have ideas before they submit. Our
Mhm.
team, the review team led by David Fenstermacher on our staff, and then Dr. Marshall from Georgetown are they have calls, dozens of them, I think, a month. So we're happy to hear any ideas as well, because to Pashtun's point, we are looking for things that maybe the NIH or
Mhm.
NCI wouldn't be funding.
I see. Amazing. So, one last question. Basically, Michael, you found any type of research project starting from basic research to clinical research. Did I get it correctly?
Yeah, but I would say we put an emphasis on the faster it can get into human, the better.
Uh-huh.
And that will be looked
I
at,
see.
right? Yeah, so it's really high risk, high reward. Now,
Mm-hmm.
yes, we have a good amount of money, but we don't have hundreds of millions, right? You think $100 million is a lot, but it could go like this
Mm-hmm.
if you start
Right.
funding. So we really are concentrating on high risk, high reward things that can get into humans fast. Yes, young investigator awards, but that could lead to clinic fast.
Yeah, just a simple, so small number of a single investigator-initiated trial without even translational component can easily touch $1 million. So just for those who may or may not be clinical trial investigators, even though, like Michael said, 100 million sounds a lot of money, it can go
Mm-hmm.
through very fast if not appropriately, allotted to things that could tangibly reach our patients faster. So I think the whole idea is to focus on things that are showing more than just proof of principle, or something that's profound but needs that extra push as through that cannot be funded through traditional mechanisms. I wanted to highlight. Yeah.
Okay, now it's clear. I think after this presentation, Michael, you will get tons of
More
applications.
calls and
So,
more emails. Yes.
yeah,
Good,
for
good.
sure.
That's what we need. That's what we need.
Yeah.
Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to OncoDaily on YouTube. Hit the bell icon to stay updated.